Hey, this is Jill Keller, and I am here with my first video for Pretty Little Studio, and I'm using the Treasure Island collection. So to start with, as you can see, I already have quite a bit of work done on my paper. This is a piece of white 12 by 12 cardstock, and I put down a thin layer of clear gesso, and then I used my silhouette to draw out the title, Welcome to the Mermaid Lagoon. I then used some Shimmers products and I watercolor painted the title. And then I used some We Are Memory Keepers and some regular embroidery floss to stitch. As you can see, I didn't do the words to the because they're awfully skinny, and sometimes with those skinny little letters, if the holes are too close together, the paper can kind of start to tear. I opted to just skip the stitching on those. So now, this part of the video, I'm going to explain my process for putting together the layout. I cut one of the Treasure Island transparencies down to fit over the blue and green watercoloring I did at the bottom of the page. I really wanted to use a piece of clear here because I wanted the colors to show through, and I thought that the map was perfect because the title is Welcome to the Mermaid Lagoon, so it's like that little treasure map is the map to where my little mermaid is swimming in the backyard. I'm layering my 3x4 photo with a piece of tissue paper first. I have no reason for doing that, I just like the way it looks. I like having one layer between my photo and then my pattern papers. Sometimes I'll do multiple layers of tissue paper. It just depends on what my mood is. And then I used the crescent reef paper, and then I decided I wanted to tie in a little bit of that coral color from the stickers. I knew I was going to use the splash sticker. Those are the Sandy Beach watercolor stickers from the Treasure Island collection. So I decided to add in a piece of the Pirate's Journal vellum, and it's in that coral color as well. Here I'm using the cut apart labels. I'm fussy cutting it out. I like the little, I think it's called maybe the ticket stub end or something along those lines. Like if you have a paper punch that notches corners like that, I think that's called ticket stub. I like those, and so I decided to fussy cut so I could have that little notched end. I'm going to use the sticker, the splash sticker on that label, and then put it as a layer towards the bottom of my photo. So I am one of those people who likes to lay out a few things and then I start to glue, and then I lay out a few more things and then I start to glue. I know a lot of people, when they're doing their layouts, they'll get everything laid out and then they'll start to adhere. And I guess I'm kind of a clumsy or klutzy scrapper because whenever I do that, I knock stuff out of the way repeatedly. So I start doing stuff and then I start adhering, and sometimes that does bite me on the butt. I'll have to be honest. Sometimes I've glued stuff down and then I've hated it and I've had to rip it up, and sometimes when you tear apart your pages, you literally tear them apart and rip your background paper. Believe me, every mistake you can make when you're crafting, I've done it. So I'm getting the little tissue paper layers adhered down to the Crescent River paper and figuring out where I'm going to put this label and this sticker. I knew I wanted to use the flare badges too. I want to say something really quick. I love the flare badges from Pretty Little Studio. I like the size. I like the thickness. I like that they don't come with any adhesive on them, that I can put my own on there, that I don't have to try to pick off a pop dot or a glue dot that's already put on there. I love these flare badges, and I probably will put them on every single page that I do for Pretty Little Studio. They're one of my favorites. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm going to add some thread, and I don't have a huge collection of thread. I have a lot of colors, but sometimes when I'm purchasing thread, I don't realize that I already have maybe one or two spools that look almost identical to what I've already got at home. So I was debating between the blues there and decided to go ahead and use this limey green color. I really love this color. I'm not a huge green fan unless it's like mint green, but my next favorite color has got to be this kind of limey citron-y color, and it's in the Treasure Island colors, and I love it. It's one of my favorites. So here's where I bust my fine liner bottle. This video is truly a comedy of errors for me today. Um, I must not have gotten the lid on all the way, and the little needle that keeps it from getting clogged was totally like jammed in there. I ripped the whole needle right out of the bottle. Fortunately, I have a backup. So yeah, I just got mad and ditched that other bottle. So deciding on how to place the flare, and I'm going to go back to the thread and just grab one of the blues. There's so many shades of blue in the Treasure Island collection that really it doesn't matter what you have. You're not going to be too far off as far as matching. And I'm not one of those people who has to match completely perfectly anyway. I'm kind of a close enough is good enough kind of girl. So it's a light blue. I have a light blue I used at the top in the welcome when I did the watercoloring. So close enough. So I'm making my little thread nests, and I just take the thread and wind it right around my fingers, and then I twist it, and then I hold one little side of it and I start to pull all the pieces out so I get like a little tangly nest. And then I just gently stick it under the layers and glue it down. Easy peasy. I'm grabbing the little mermaid flare. She's such a cute mermaid. I love her. I feel like my girlie looks like a mermaid in this picture. She's got super long hair, almost down to her waist. And she's sitting there in that little pool. And the story behind the photo is my dad actually bought Quinn that little pool. And we brought it back from the store, and we were hanging out in the backyard and decided to go ahead and put some water in it, thinking that she would just, stand in it and splash around for a minute before my dad went home. Nope, she stripped down, totally buck naked, hopped in the pool, and started playing. So, yeah, that's my little naked girl. This is from last summer, so she was 3. And, you know, mermaids are kind of naked, so she's my little mermaid sitting back there. Okay, so I was debating between the two octopi on which one I wanted to add to the page, and I ultimately decided on the one holding up the little signs because he was looking inwards towards everything going on my page. I liked the other one better for this page, but he's looking in the wrong direction, so I decided to go with the octopus that is looking at my kiddo while she's playing in the pool. Plus, I like the fact that he's holding up all those little signs, and I've got the red X's on the transparency paper, and there's some little red signs, so that ties in. I've got the coral on the splash sticker. I've got the coral behind the photo with a piece of vellum, and there's coral in the little mermaid flare. So I'm repeating the colors that I've chosen to use. I'm not necessarily one of those scrapbookers who does visual triangle or rule of thirds, although I guess on this page I kind of did do rule of thirds in a sense, but I am someone who thinks that you should repeat. If you are using black on one side of your page, I think you should balance and have black on the other side, or top versus bottom and so on. That's how I think, and that's what looks good to my eye. So that's the direction that I tend to go. I try to find ways that I can repeat, usually color. I also will try to repeat elements. For example, I could have gone another direction with this page and repeated the arrow that's on the flare. I could have repeated that a couple of times, but instead I chose to repeat colors. So my colors are repeated throughout the page from top to bottom, from left to right. I've got some balance there with color. Okay, so now the last thing I'm going to do, and sadly my camera dies, although you guys watching me apply letter stickers is probably not the most exciting thing. I'm going to add underneath the flare and the label and the splash backyard fun. First I'm going to knock down my paintbrushes. Oh goodness, seriously, comedy of errors with this video. So these little alphas I love. It's a tiny little sheet, and there's like a 1 million alphas on there. I don't honestly think you could run out of an alpha trying to do title, you could even do journaling with these little alpha sheets from Pretty Little Studio. There's so many alphas on there. Like I said, I'm just adding the words backyard fun. So I think I get about halfway through, or a little more than halfway through, and my camera shuts off. One thing after another trying to film this video today, I tell ya. So here in a sec, you're going to see the final shot of my layout. And I didn't really do anything else to it after the camera shut off. I just finished spelling out backyard fun. So here in a sec should be the final layout shot. And there it is, finally. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great day.